We are blasting through the deck projects. This week we're going to finish the Dorade boxes. If you didn't watch last week's episode, check it out. We explain more about what the Dorade box does. But basically, it's how we get really good ventilation through the boat. It's very exciting to see these deck projects come together because it means that painting the boat is just around the corner. My name is Matt. Follow along as I turn Duracell, the legendary ocean racing sailboat, into a comfortable cruising home. Before I install the Dorade boxes, I have to sand the deck down to fiberglass for the best adhesion. There are quite a few layers of paint and primer to get through, so it took a little extra elbow grease and sandpaper to get it done. I'm working on the starboard side Dorade box. Now, the whole box is above the head. The aft end is above the shower, the forward end is above the main compartment of the bathroom or the head. I don't want two vents going into the head space, and so this inflow tube is a little bit different than the rest of the inflow tubes, this side and the other two on the port side. So this one I've already got glued in, and what it does is it goes down into the head and then it makes a 90-degree turn and it shoots aft into the main compartment. So let's go down and take a look at it. So it was unnecessary to have two vents in the head area. So what I did is I turned that vent after it came into the boat, and it's going to shoot aft through the shower wall and out into the main compartment. There's a dragonfly taking advantage of the ventilation system.
What a fortuitous sign about your Dorade design here.
Just loving that fresh air coming in.
A beautiful it's actually a damselfly.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, come on. This is the inflow tube that's shooting out through the head. I'm sure you're wondering how I'm going to seal this. Like the rest of them, I can easily seal with just a plug that will screw into the inflow tube. This one, I am going to have to buy an expensive access cap, basically, that I can put over this. In the case that we need to cap these vents, these Dorade boxes, I'll screw it onto the top of this one. With this one and the two on the port side, I'll have three big vents coming into the main cabin area. All right, I'm ready to glue this forward to inflow tube in. So these are made of Schedule 40 PVC, and I'm using this adapter part that the plug is able to screw into in the event that I need to seal these things up. What I'm using to glue it in with is the 3M 4200, which sticks well to PVC, but it's necessary that it's scratched up. So I got this all scratched really well. This extension pipe is glued into the top of the adapter as well, just to make this thing a little bit taller. And I kind of angled the top of this so the higher part of the tube is facing the cowl. This is absolutely the case where using an obscene or an embarrassing amount of glue is necessary.
That is indeed
Oh, it's not even done yet.
an embarrassing amount of glue.
I'm not even done. I just this is, if things were to go wrong at sea and we need to, kind of rely on these things to be watertight, I don't want to think to myself, oh, I wish I would have used more glue when things go wrong. Down below and clean it up. that's done. You might be saying to yourself that that's not very pretty, how I finished this and everything, and you're right, it's not, but it doesn't have to be because we'll be building nice little trim rings with little screens on them that covers this whole thing. And so if and when we need to plug this hole, we just take those off and put the plug inside. So yeah, for now, it's all done.
The last thing to do before gluing down the boxes is to install the drains. Some might call these limber holes. They will allow any water that finds its way into the box to easily fall out. And there have to be drains on both sides of the box so water can fall out no matter which way the boat is heeling. I cut the holes with a hole saw and a jig so the holes are half circles at the bottom edge of the box. Then I glued on phenolic tube with super glue to seal the foam edges of the limber hole. Then I cut off the excess tube. The locker that is in the middle of the box won't be watertight, so I put limber holes there as well.
Alright, I'm ready to glue this thing down. I'm just using my favorite thick sew from Total Boat just to put a big fat bead on all these edges, and then I'm just gonna put it down on the deck, let it cure, and then I'll come back later and glass it down. Voila! Just gotta clean it up and it's ready to be glassed in.
Then the starboard side box was glued down. I had to be very careful to not block any of the limber holes with epoxy.
Alright, so I got this thing glued down and I'm ready to laminate over it. All I'm going to do is one layer of 17 ounce over the whole thing to bond it to the deck. I'm also going to do a light layer of my 6 ounce tape
just around the edges. This is in a place that could take a lot of beating, and so, you know, reinforcing the corners for impact resistance I think will be good. So yeah, should be pretty easy.
You're working fast.
Yeah, I mixed my epoxy a little too early, and I just want to get it on here before it gets too hot. Still getting used to the summertime.
Apply.
It is time. Finally, I applied the first layer of primer to the Dorade. This is Allgrip's Holgard Extra, which creates a nice base for all ferroferrin compound, as well as protects the exposed fiberglass from UV. The deck and hull will get ferritin primed later this summer and fall, so getting all the exposed fiberglass spots fixed and covered with Holgard is the first step towards a nice paint job. As usual, I made these a little bit more complicated than a normal Dorade box would be, but I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think they're going to work really well. There's only a few things left to do on them. I have the lids, which have to be finished and installed. The butt rail itself, that's one of the last things that I'll do, kind of like with the stanchions. One of the last things that will be put on the boat before it's launched. One of the really interesting things that came out of the comments was the idea to build carbon cowls. I think that would be a really cool. There's a few things to figure out, specifically how I can easily remove them and replace them with a cap in the event that I need to. But otherwise, it's something I'm definitely considering.
Is it time to schedule an inspection?
I suppose.
Should I call her?
Yep.
Yeah, hey, is this the inspector? This is Matt at the Duracell project. Wondering if you could come out tomorrow? Yeah, I understand you're busy. Yep. Yep. How much? It's way more than last time. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I understand. Okay. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye. Very disgruntled.
See you next week. Matt will be moving on to a new project that involves cutting a big hole in the cockpit sole.